Hello, it's Dr. Cindy with this week's Mental Health Moment. Last week, I talked about regrets. Typically, regrets cause us pain as they occur when we feel badly about something we did or didn't do that was hurtful to someone else or that caused a negative outcome for ourselves. With regrets comes the assumption that if only we had acted differently in some way in the past, our current lives would be substantially better somehow. This can leave us stuck in the mindset that our previous action or decision has had a permanent, irreversible impact that we are forever doomed to live with. This "you made your bed, now lie in it" mentality makes us feel like we have to just suffer through whatever challenges our decisions seem to have created for us. But regrets don't have to be a self-imposed life sentence of guilt, blame, or shame. They can, in fact, have a positive impact on our lives and guide us in ways that benefit us if we are open to that possibility. One of those benefits that can come from regrets is the resolve to do things differently and not repeat whatever behavior we have remorse about. That often involves motivation to do the necessary work to improve ourselves or our circumstances moving forward. In fact, it is interesting that the word resolution means both a firm decision to do or not to do something, and also the action of solving a problem. So a resolution entails both intention and action, and whatever it is that we resolve to do differently has with it an expectation of bringing about positive change to something we have seen as problematic. In addition to arising out of regrets from the past, resolutions are also commonly made at the start of a new year, when we have a birthday, or at other times we view as a good opportunity for a fresh start and feel inspired to do things differently. I like to think of a resolution as being a commitment to ourselves to follow through with changes we want to make. Often, a resolution comes with some type of end result or ultimate goal: lose weight, find a new job, relocate. Sometimes resolutions are more process focused: engage in more self care, be more outgoing, stop procrastinating. Either way, resolutions are helpful to the extent that they motivate and direct us to take steps toward whatever changes or outcome we have identified as being important to us. However, they are not helpful when they become something that makes us feel like a failure if we don't achieve them. I worked with someone once who had the goal of being married by the time he turned 30. He came to me for help when he was 29 because it was not looking likely that this goal was going to be met. He struggled with depression around this, feeling hopeless about the possibility of achieving the goal and feeling badly about himself for failing. So today I'm going to talk about the intention side of resolutions, and we'll follow up next time by discussing how to put the intention into action. Before deciding a strategy for making a desired change in your life, it is important to take the time to get clear with yourself about what that desired change actually is. I talked about this in the previous video regarding a regret over not getting a college degree. Now, that regret could be based on an accurate assessment of the need for a degree in order to advance in your career at the level you would like to. But it is also possible that it stems from feelings of inadequacy because you're comparing yourself to your colleagues who went to college. Or it could come from unresolved feelings that you disappointed your parents because you chose not to go to college in order to pursue an opportunity that was right for you, but not what they wanted you to do. So the underlying reason for the regret is going to be important to figure out in order to know the best course of action for addressing it. At the core of our impulses to make changes is the desire to feel better, whether it's about money, weight, our relationship or friendships, our job, our home, or some other aspect of ourself or our circumstances. If we feel completely content and satisfied, there's no impetus for changing. It's the discontent, dissatisfaction, or other displeasure that creates the sense of needing to do something different. Those feelings are the catalyst for us to look at what we might want to change in our lives. I like to think of these challenging feelings as being like a water leak in the ceiling. When you look up and you notice the water dripping down, it is clear that there is a leak, but it is not immediately apparent what the origin of the leak is. The dripping water is what gets your attention that there is something going on, but you have to open up the ceiling and trace back along the path of the water in order to get to the source of the issue. Similarly, when a tough feeling presents itself for our attention, it is important to delve further beyond what is immediately apparent in order to trace back to where it is actually coming from. Let's take something that seems straightforward, like I wish I didn't have to worry about money anymore. On the surface, the obvious interpretation is I would like to have more money. And without further examination, that is the direction that your thoughts will likely lead you in. Then the natural thing to do would be to start looking for ways to have more money, which could include exploring other job options that might generate more income, refinancing your house, moving to a more affordable home, or other possibilities. But what if the real issue isn't how much money you actually have, but the worry about it? There may be a deeper underlying insecurity about money that has nothing to do with what your actual financial circumstances are. In that case, it's the anxiety about money that's the cause of the discontent, not the money itself. So, taking steps to increase your income or lower your expenses might provide temporary relief to that, but that ultimately will not resolve the actual issue. That type of anxiety about money will persist no matter how much you have, and even if objectively you are financially comfortable and secure. In order to get past the initial surface layer of the perceived issue, it's important to bypass the automatic, patterned problem solving reflexes of the brain and get literally to the heart of the matter. To do that, you would take whatever issue is causing you discontent and present it to your heart to explore. Let's stick with the example of worrying about money. Put your hand on your heart and ask, what is this really about? Then be still and wait for whatever comes to you. As feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, or insecurity come up, sit with them and let yourself feel what you feel. Remember, these are not feelings you are creating by doing this. They have been there all along and are connected to how you feel about money now. When you stay with the emotions, specific memories may start to surface. You might remember your parents arguing about money and how scared and uncertain that made you feel. In that case, what you thought was a desire to have more money now might really be a carryover of the instability and insecurity you felt back then. Or you might recall being embarrassed because every other kid in school seemed to have a new backpack and outfit on the first day, while you wore a sibling's hand-me-downs and carried the same backpack as the year before. You may discover that because of these experiences, your sense of self-worth became defined by material possessions. So the worry about money is actually motivated by an attempt to prevent feelings of inadequacy or worthlessness. In this case, having more money now seems like a way to feel better about yourself. Maybe fears about money linked back to losing a spouse through death or divorce. In addition to the actual financial implications of this, there might be unresolved grief related to the loss or anxiety about being alone and having to manage everything on your own. This is all information that can lead you to the answers you are looking for about what's really bothering you and can give you clarity about how you might work to resolve the situation you are struggling with now. Another helpful question is, what am I really wanting? Again, that's a question to pose to the heart, not the head. The head will always answer based on what we've learned. The heart tells us what is really important to us deep down. When we perceive a deficit of some sort in our lives, it is possible that part of that deficiency comes from either inaccurately or too narrowly defining what it is that we think is missing. You know the saying, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. Well, to that I would add, and it might distract you from what you need. Without clarity about what we are really wanting, we might invest time and energy to get what we think is lacking, only to then find that we still feel the same as we did before. That generally means what we pursued and acquired was probably not what we were truly wanting, and our efforts in that direction may have actually sidetracked us from a potentially more satisfying path. I have yet to hear of an instance in which someone nearing the end of their life looked back on their time on this planet and said, "Oh gosh, I just wish I had made more money, worked more hours, had a bigger house, owned more cars, advanced to a higher position, or got more recognition at my job." Yet so many people prioritize those, thinking that's where fulfillment comes from. and then find themselves feeling chronically dissatisfied. We've talked about how our brains always want to be in charge, and as a society, we've overvalued thoughts over feelings. But our thoughts lead us astray constantly, sending us all over the place on a wild goose chase for happiness that often takes us to dead ends. When your heart is your compass, you are much more likely to be able to find your way. Not your parents' way, your teacher's way, your pastor's way, your partner's way, your coworker's way, or anyone else's way, but your way. Whatever it is that your heart answers will be more in line with what would truly bring more peace and contentment and satisfaction in your life. Spend time in that space and take some notes for yourself to help keep you focused on this deeper wisdom. And be prepared for your brain to try to jump in with its suggestions and solutions. If the answers were really that obvious, you would have figured this out already. As a starting point, this week I encourage you to spend some time connecting to your heart and feeling out the question, what do I really want? See this as an exploration rather than trying to get an explanation. Come up with as many things as you can and write out a wish list. Try not to get caught up in whether you think something is realistic, feasible, practical, attainable, or whatever other roadblocks your brain might come up with. The whole point of a wish is that it can be anything, so give yourself permission to indulge in that. The more time you spend with this, the closer you can get to what really matters to you deep down. Then you can use that as guidance for setting some intentions and creating resolutions for yourself around the ones that matter the most. When we identify and understand the emotional underpinnings of situations that concern us in our current lives, we are better equipped to figure out what we want to do about them. Many times, the best course of action may be a combination of doing the internal healing work to take care of those deeper, unresolved emotions and external pragmatic steps to align our actions with the changes that we are wanting for ourselves. So, framing your resolution in such a way that allows for both types of action can guide you in making changes. Additionally, try to set your resolutions as a broad intention that allows for as many strategies as possible in order to fulfill it. Instead of resolving to make more money, for example, maybe resolve to improve your relationship with money or to establish a greater sense of security for yourself overall. That doesn't preclude making more money as one possible action to take, but it doesn't limit you to that either. Rather than focusing strictly on losing weight, try resolving to make more decisions that are healthy for your body. The broader you set the intention, the more unlimited the possibilities are for the strategies you create for achieving it. Next week, I'll talk about how to develop and follow through with a plan for taking action on your resolutions. Take care and have a good week.